Oh, we live. Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Beyond the Surface with Sharon. We're on episode 9. Come on in the room. I feel like an old Negro spiritual from Horns Temple in Woodbine, Baptist Church of the Living God. Amen. So come on in the room. Episode 9. Everyone, what y'all doing today? Thank God for the rain last night. It was cooled off that weather. Y'all, it's been hot, like unbearable hot. I'm gonna have to tell y'all about this plant I'm growing. Remind me to tell y'all about this plant I'm growing. Maybe. I don't know if it's legal. Never mind. Disregard all of that. So I wanted to talk about a couple current affairs while y'all are logging on. Once you get here, get in the comments, say hey to me so I know you're here. Let me go see. Say hey in the comments so I know you guys are here and you're watching. Tonight we have Erinn Moore and we have Andrew Matthews Sr. They're here to talk about entrepreneurship and a leap of faith. A leap. Because it takes a lot to go into entrepreneurship. I doubt that. Okay, Miss Nina, I doubt that it's for me. I don't think the Lord put that on my heart at all because I am a procrastinator. So it is not a gift that I was given. So welcome everybody. Come on in the room. We have some amazing guests here who are going to talk about entrepreneurship, a leap of faith, and if that thing is for you or not. And what if you feel like it's for you, what can you do? I know we have a lot of entrepreneurs. Hey, Pumpkin, a lot of entrepreneurs here. A lot of people are into entrepreneurship, working for yourself, being your own boss, not working for the man, 9 to 5. I think this next generation that's coming up, they are not built for 9 to 5, and they are not with the stuff. They are very, I'm gonna take ownership of my own life, and y'all can have that 9 to 5, and I'll make my own moves and make my own waves. And I love that about them. They are very, yes, we're building businesses. Yes, multiple streams of income. I know that's Funkin's big thing. Multiple streams of income. Because working 9 to 5 and somebody telling you your salary when you can just go be your own boss, a lot of people are not into that. But going on today, y'all, a lot of things are going on today. Today we have basketball. The WNBA is playing today. Hey, a lot of things are going on today. We have the Las Vegas Aces and the Chicago Sky are playing. That's Aja Wilson and Angel Reese. They're playing. They're going to have to wait, though, because we on. We have track and field that's happening today. The Olympic trials are happening. Chris Brown, breezy. Erinn, okay, with the hand clap. Errin's Mines. Am I allowed to say that? Said it already, too late. Is in Philadelphia. So Chris Brown, he'll be there Saturday, though. So, you said go to Chicago. Yes, Angel Reese and Aja Wilson. What else is happening? Men's gymnastics trials are going. I think there's a black guy rooting for everything black in my everybody black. In my Issa Rae voice. What else? Oh, y'all, the presidential debate. But presidential debate's on. That's a whole nother show. Y'all vote for your future. Karen Prather, yes, I want to have that mindset so badly, but it's so hard to break my 9 to 5 mentality. It is. I think we're really taught to work for other people. I think it's kind of a mindset that I don't know if I want to say our parents, but if you don't know better, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So I think it's kind of safe and security in working for somebody, knowing where the money's coming from. And that's why we talk about a leap of faith, honey, because these two have literally jumped off the mountain and into the fire. I don't know what's down there, but they took a leap and they literally landed somewhere with God. So I think I would have wanted to do it if I was younger. I mean, not that, I'm retired now, so God bless. I'm in a different space, but I think I definitely would have wanted to do that if I was younger. I think it's kind of just, having a good support system. I ain't gonna preach on it because it ain't my thing. It's just not my thing. So if y'all are here, say hey so we can put my mute down. So we can acknowledge you guys in the comments and see who's here and say hi and thank you. I know they can't. Mickey said it can't be no worse than corporate America. So yeah, so today at work, I really got called the other black lady's name. It's just a couple black people in the at work, and I didn't tell y'all went to work, a little part-time job. Anywho, yeah, it's me and another black lady, and guess who they got confused? Black ladies. Yeah. Anywho, I'm like, it's just two of us. I don't even look like the lady. I don't have hair. Come on, man. But anywho, so thank you all for tuning in today. Today we have coming to the stage. We have Andrew Matthews. Everybody can give a hand. Woo! Put some hand claps in the comments.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Andrew, can you hear the hand clap? You hear the audience?
I hear him.
My producer. He loves that hand clap. Yeah, so welcome. Thanks for agreeing to come on.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, me too. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna bring on the other one, Miss Ma'am. Hey, Miss Chemistry Catering herself.
That's me.
Hey. Yeah, this
Love
is
the sound effects in the back.
yes, we are having fun. So thank you guys for agreeing to come on because this is such an important topic. Like in today's world, amongst like people, a lot of people are really interested in pursuing themselves a business, and you guys have definitely left your other jobs and you have took a leap of faith into your own business. So Erinn, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and your business?
Sure. Good evening, everybody, and thank you to Sharon for inviting me on. A little bit about myself. So, I had a career in community corrections for about almost 9 years, and got interrupted the program, and I decided to reinvent myself. And a lot of that stemmed from, telling other individuals that were, coming from incarceration and headed back into society, you're starting all over again. If you're going to create a career for yourself, create it in something that you enjoy doing. So I heard myself saying that day in and day out, and I really wasn't doing it myself. So when my plan was interrupted, I decided to take my own advice. And I always enjoyed cooking, but I never saw myself making a career out of it. But I said, hey, I like it. So I'm going to go to school. I went to Atlantic Cape Community College in Mays Landing. And I graduated number two in my class.
Oh,
In, yeah, number two. Uh, number two in my class in 2015, I think it was 2015, I believe. And from there, I knew I didn't want to work in a restaurant. I didn't have time for that. I was a mom with kids, and you know, I had a life. So I had to figure out something else. And I felt like catering would give me the freedom to be able to still do what I like, but also have that work life balance. So here I am.
awesome. Awesome. I like that. Andrew.
With me, I started making music, aspiring not to service others. It just started off as a personal thing. Um, I went to my first session ever, and shout out to Andy Shelton. That's when I became fascinated with equipment and the technical stuff of music. I decided when I had my daughter that I would invest in trying to learn it and teach myself through like external resources, YouTube, Google. And I took a job at the correctional facility in Cape May County with the mentality that I didn't think that I was going to be there for 25 years, but until I felt like I was prepared to pursue my music endeavors, I stayed there for 6 years. During that time, I was learning and growing and meeting people and networking, and gained the confidence to finally make the decision to leave and open up a recording studio in the Villas.
Okay. So what was the catalyst that well, where did the idea come from? Can we talk about that? Anybody want either one of you want to tell me where the idea came from to just open up your own business?
I can jump in and just kind of say that, when you're put in a position where somebody can tell you you have a job today and not tomorrow, that was kind of what made me think I don't want to give anybody the authority to dictate my livelihood anymore. Um, so I knew then that I wanted to have my own thing and, eventually at some point be able to offer opportunities to other people. So that's what it was for me. Just somebody saying, you don't have a job now.
But
Mm,
that really is eye opening. Like you're employed one day, and it was a great employer.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, you're employed at a random mom and pop shop. You're definitely at like somewhere that has multiple employees, like hundreds.
Right.
right.
And for them to say, hey, we don't need you anymore, and you've been there for a while,
And
that's
for us, it
really,
was the program. Like the program was discontinued.
yeah.
Mm.
So Andrew, you want to tell us what
With
was your
me,
catalyst that sent you sent you over?
what inspired the idea for me was after I was pursuing it for myself, just learning, coming across a lot of information that my friends and peers were asking me to record them. And initially, I wasn't charging. It got to a point where I felt like I was capable of doing that because of the feedback from the people I was working around. And after doing the math in my head and perceiving that, I feel like I'm confident enough to achieve that if I were to leave. I guess that's where the idea stemmed from me. It wasn't initial, I don't think. It came after I became confident in my craft, I think.
So how much prayer and planning, like faith and works, right? How much
Hmm.
prayer and planning went into saying, okay, I'm not going to go get another job, Aaron and Andrew. Just okay, I've been pursuing this and I like it. Like how much prayer and planning that went into, okay, this is it. I'm going to take that leap of faith.
For me, my plan was to go straight into it, but that didn't happen. I did have to go back to a nine to five before I got to that point. Um, Mainly because I needed the experience. It's one thing to cook, but you also need to know how to execute things for specific events. So, a lot of people get it misconstrued and they think, oh, because your family says, hey, you cook so well, you need to open a restaurant. You need more than just the ability to cook. You need to understand techniques. You need to understand the dynamics of how restaurants operate before you just jump out there and do something like that.
Hmm.
So I did have to go back to a nine to five for, I think I was there for about 4 years. Um, and I took one job after I got out of school, stayed there that entire time. And then that's when I departed the workforce altogether.
Okay. So when you do you recommend that? Is that something you recommend? Like after
If you
you
don't
know what you want to do? Go ahead.
if you don't have experience, I think it's a good idea to get a little bit of something before you go. It also
Whatever
provided me that
field you're pursuing.
right, and especially if you have no experience, don't just hop out there, with a dream and say, "Hey, I'm going to do this," and you have no footing, no idea of how to get it done. Because I mean, you're going to make mistakes regardless. You're going to have
Hmm.
lessons learned anyway, but you want to minimize the unnecessary ones. So I think having some experience is vital. Um, it also gave me an opportunity to save some money, because what you want to have is a little cushion under you, because the bills are going to keep coming whether you got a job or not.
Mhm.
So I was able to save some money to have, that nest egg to continue to live and make ends meet if things didn't go in the direction I wanted them to go into immediately.
Okay, Andrew, you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, I agree with everything she said. As far as like, I still try to upkeep praying and planning to this day,
Mhm.
but I feel like how much planning? My plan was to learn everything I could about the craft. So I guess I could say from when I started till I left the job was how much planning, and the prayer. That's just that's still an active part. So
Yeah,
um, I would say until I made the decision, you know what I mean?
right.
The planning went into it.
So you guys are saying, for the people watching, you're saying make sure you have a plan and then research your plan and then get some experience.
Right, and learn everything that there is to know about your craft. You know what I mean? I would say
Before you
that's
jump.
extremely important.
Mhm.
Yeah, it sounds important. So after you went with Andrew, you went and
Hmm.
sat in the studio with Andy. Like, was there something like what was the thought process of I want to pursue this? I want this to be like something I want to honor God with and
Hmm.
pursue.
Well, when I went there, he didn't. I'm glad that he seen something in me. Maybe it was the questions I was asking. Maybe it was the way I was looking, or I don't know. But he seen something in me and continued to pour into me, which I feel obligated to pay forward. But he definitely sparked. I didn't go in there. I went in there with the intentions just to record a song I had made. After seeing his setup, it was like, okay, there's other stuff I can do with music. Um, but yeah, that was it for me.
I love that you have like a mentor person. You know what I mean? I think that's
Right,
very important to have somebody who has background in that type of thing,
right.
in business, and that they can definitely give you some information and kind of lead you along the way.
Hmm.
Like Mickey said, a motivated mentor. Aaron, did
Right.
you have that?
I don't know if I could say I had one in particular, but I definitely had some mentors on the job that had a lot more food service experience than me. And they definitely helped me along the way.
Okay. So, by your community, so when you came up with the idea that you wanted to take this leap of faith, how, and I know it's your own dream, how do you present it to your family? Like, what is that response?
My family was okay with it.
You said they weren't okay with it?
No, they were. They were fine. They were very supportive and still are very much so.
Andrew, how was your family's response?
With me, I think they see me always engaged with it, so they knew the level of seriousness that I took it. As far as leaving the job, I did understandably provide a plan in writing. You know what I mean, for the security of my wife, because I do understand that everyone can't see your vision, or it's not possible for everyone to see your vision, or even understand it in the capacity that you do. But even before that, the support was it's always been there, still there.
So, can you talk a little bit, Andrew, what you just said, like people not seeing the vision that God has for you?
Right.
And, there could be some naysayers and doubters and saying, like, this is what God has for me, and I'm going to take that leap of faith and
Hmm.
go into business by myself, with God and
Right.
just pursue that.
Well, that was huge for me, and I'm still learning to embrace who I reveal my plans and dreams to. You know what I mean? Because I did receive a lot of misunderstanding from people who don't didn't know how much time I put in it, because I'm not the type of person to really talk about the work I do, but I do a lot goes into it. And if you don't explain that to someone and you tell them you're leaving the job for something that you never talked to them about, it could come off as you know what I mean? You can look crazy or you can seem crazy, whatever. But I feel like it's important to tell the right people, most importantly.
Absolutely.
And
And people who are like faith believers, that's
right,
important.
for
Yeah.
sure.
So it was definitely a shock for me because we're in the same family. But I always I always applaud you for just being that person to say, hey, this 9 to 5, 12 hours, 16 hours, whatever those shifts were you were working,
Mhm.
they were all over the place.
Right,
And just understanding how you raise a family on that was bananas. But
mhm.
trusting the process and trusting God to say, this is what I put in you. This is the vision that I have for you. Like that was so great for me to feel like, okay, he said, you know what? I'm gonna trust God. It's faith building for other people. Like you guys are definitely like some faith leaders in the community because a lot of people are nervous to take that leap of faith and just
Right,
say, we're just going to do it and trust God.
And I think the reality too is you're never going to be as ready as you think you need to be to jump, because if you were, you wouldn't need God. So that's part of the whole concept of the leap of faith.
mhm.
You have what you have in place, you get what you can get in place, and then the rest of it you just have to leave up to him, because if he gave you the vision, then he'll make sure that the provision is set for you for
Right.
everything else.
Yeah. Andrew, there's a comment here from Nikki. It says, so Andrew, I feel like you should take at least one day out of the week to visit different schools to open up to the youth, to hear your voice and teach them as well and like show them the way.
That would be awesome. An awesome opportunity. I would 100% if able to do. I a lot of kids want to make music around here. People were in disbelief about me taking this endeavor, but this next generation, they want to do what they see, and it's bigger than I thought it was. You know what I mean? I didn't expect the amount of people to want to pursue music. So if any way I can help, I would love to do that. If there's any schools that would allow that type of um,
Yeah. So if anybody's watching and you have a connection with the school,
mm-hmm.
Andrew is saying you can connect him with the school so that way he can go in and teach the kids and, give the next generation what's available to learn.
Sure.
Erinn is a fabulous cook. Mommy is over there tearing them meals up, honey. But Erinn, you wanna tell us what exactly is your business?
So it's kind of funny because what I went to school for was just the hot food element, so just to cook. And the school still requires you to have the baking experience if you're going for hot foods, and vice versa. If you're going for baking, you still have to have some of the hot foods to be a well-rounded chef. And I kind of figured out on my way out of there that I was pretty talented at the cake part. So, well, I should say the baking part. So that kind of was the beginning of Chemistry Catering. It's kind of taken like different turns. Like it started out with the sweet, moved back to the catering, got back to the sweet, and now we're back at the catering, but there is still some sweet. So I encompass a lot of things. Right now, the meal prep is the front runner of my business, and it's something that I never wanted to do. And sometimes that's where your blessings lie. You know, right where you don't want to go, where you
Mm-hmm.
refuse to go.
Right.
That's kind of where everything is. And the meal prep has taken my business in a direction that I never would have imagined. I still do the cakes, but it's kind of like here and there, just because the meal prep takes so much time and preparation.
So we have meal prep, sweets, and
Full service catering, like so small
catering.
scale and full service catering too.
Mhm. So for all your events, Erinn is here for you.
I'm
Chemistry
here.
catering. She's your lady.
I am.
Andrew, you want to tell us a little bit about your business?
I provide. I have a studio, a recording studio. I offer mixing and mastering services. I produce. I help write songs. Um, that's basically the full what my business entails. Any and music
Rap
endeavors.
and gospel?
What's that?
I said, is this rap, R&B, and gospel? Like, can I come
I
and
work on
how you
any
helping
genre.
Aaron? I feel like I need to get on the microphone and give him a little Lottie Edwards.
I work on any genre and any my job is to help whatever you hear in your head come to fruition tangibly.
I love that because I have called you and gave you ideas that are in my head. You know, I'm
Hmm.
still working on them.
A theme
But,
song for the podcast, Sharon.
Hmm.
man, I
I'm
gave
working on
him
it.
18 different ideas. So he's trying to mesh my ideas. Oh, your wife is in the comments. She said you're a rapper. So you're an artist.
Yes,
You're an
that's
artist too.
I would not be a engineer if I wasn't an artist pursuing it for myself. That's what definitely made me pursue it for myself initially.
So you do both. You're an artist and an engineer.
Yes, but the service I provide isn't my artistry. It's kind of the separate. I keep it separate.
And they can follow you on you want to give your social medias and then we'll give Aaron's.
Yeah, I am the Prophet '07. That is my artist page, and H.T.R Studios is my studio page. Make sure H.T.R underscore studios is my studio page. What do you say?
I said that Aaron want to give her social
Okay.
medias.
Oh, so my social medias, I'm trying to figure out how I get in this chat. So my social medias are um, at Chemistry Catering on Instagram, Chemistry Catering on Facebook, and the website is www.chemistrykatering.us. And chemistry is spelled with a Khemistry.
Gotcha. Self promo there. So so what advice do you have for someone like because I know there's a lot that goes on to people who want LLCs and who don't want LLCs and it's a lot of different avenues that goes into businesses and opening up a business. What advice do you have to someone who has like I do 1,000 ideas of hey I should do this, hey I should do that, and to narrow it down and then put something together?
My recommendation is to sit down with your thoughts, put them on paper, because even though you can do many things, when you have too many things on your plate all at once, you're not going to get anything done. Um, so you just want to kind of streamline what's probably most important to you, and then kind of go from there. And keeping prayer at the forefront. God will direct you and tell you, "Hey, it's time for this," or "Hey, you know, try that." Um, so I think if you are full of ideas, the best thing to do is put them on paper because it's good to see your thoughts when they're just kind of like dancing around in your head. That's catastrophic.
And is because you
Right.
can never focus. It kind that writing it down, like you said, it gives you focus.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yep,
Yeah, write the vision, make it plain. That's what it
that's
says.
it. That's what it
Come
says.
on,
For sure. For sure. Um,
Andrew. What advice do you have?
I agree. A person who's everywhere is nowhere. Like
That's right.
you know what I mean.
Oh, y'all put
That's
that in the
good.
comments.
That's
Person who's
good.
everywhere. He said the person
um,
that's everywhere is nowhere. My
That's
God. Okay.
good.
You're trying to get an offering, sir.
it's something I still try to practice for myself. You know what I mean. It's hard. It is hard, and if it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
That's
But
right.
one brick at a time, and prayerfully being in tune. God created everyone with strengths and weaknesses, And there's things that come really easy to everyone. I think that self-reflection can help you be in tune with that if you're not. Other people remind you, but to find that thing that is a strength and that comes easy to you and work at it with the same tenacity that we give to people we work for. You know what I'm saying? Trying to show up every day.
Mm.
So what can you tell me? Speaking of showing up every day, what about people who are like procrastinators? Like how can they avoid the pitfalls? Like what advice do you
Same.
have
I'm a
for
procrastinator
us?
as well.
You're going to learn a lot about yourself when you go into business for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Some lessons that
10 minutes, I'm good.
you're going to learn a lot about yourself, some things that you like and some things that you don't like. Personally, I discovered that I was willing to give a lot to the person I was working for. And it took me some time to realize you're not giving that same energy to your own thing. Like, for as hard
Mm-hmm.
as I may have been working, I realized that, I was disciplined to get up every day, go to a job, work my hours, go above and beyond, um, for whether it's financial compensation, pats on the back, like whatever the benefits were, you went hard for those things for someone else.
Absolutely.
And when you go into business for yourself, you don't always have those things. Like, you're not going to get a paycheck every week.
Right.
You Some weeks you might not make any money.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you show up after that? You know what I mean? And I don't have to get up at 8 o'clock every morning to go to this job or to go to work for myself. I can get up at 9, and sometimes 9 might turn to 10, and 10 might turn to 11. And I might say, you know what, I'll do it tomorrow. You know what I mean? And those are the things that you learn about yourself. Like, you have to check you, and you have
Mm-hmm.
to say, listen, if I did this for somebody else's dream, I owe it to myself, I owe it to my family to go just as hard as I did for their dream for my own.
I love that. Go even harder. Because I know
Mm-hmm.
when I did work, like I was definitely all in. Let me get in here. Let me get as much knowledge as I can
Mm-hmm.
for their business. I want to be as knowledgeable as I can. I'm going to show up on time. I'm going to stay late if I need to stay late to finish a project. Like, we are so dedicated to other people, and
Yeah.
then you go into business for yourself. You kind of be like him, haw, and like you said, you really can't do that. You have to give that much energy to your own business. Andrew,
And
I
what's
agree too. I believe that procrastination is something every human deals with, and you're going to constantly have to deal with it. Well, fighting those thoughts of putting off things and not being inspired or not, I mean, any type of emotions that can contribute to procrastination. But I really feel like your business will be a reflection of how you handle procrastination. It's not really something. I don't know if you can teach discipline to another person. Another person has to kind of teach it to themselves. So it's not really advice for that. It's just you have to be aware of it and try to minimize the excuses you make as much as
mm,
possible.
yep.
that sounds good. So what about like ethical stuff? Like, I know I know the PPP loans came around
Mhm.
and everybody was applying for them, and I kind of wanted to get one myself, but I didn't have a business, but I wanted to make one up like everybody else was doing, and
Mhm.
and get this money the government was giving us back our money. So what was your guys' experience with that, and how did you handle it?
I wanted to too, and I was encouraged to do it, but I couldn't because I was afraid. Um, when I looked at the stipulations for that PPP loan, like there were criteria that I didn't meet, and I was like, I'll be the one that applies for this loan, gets the money, and they start going through the red tape, and boom, here I am. I'm the one that has to pay back all the money, or I got a case against me and I'm on my way to jail. So I just said, I'm not going to do it. I'm
Right.
not going to
Still
do it.
do it.
And I mean, I had a legit business, but the thing is, like, some of it was like the business was supposed to have been established at a certain point in time and running for just all the fine tape. I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Right.
I wish I
Yeah.
had, but I didn't do it.
Yeah, my skepticism prevented me from
Hmm.
doing it as well.
That's what I think. I think it's like, the faith and the ethical and the just the thought process of this isn't a good decision. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Because like Monique said, what if you had gotten audited? How can you come up
Right.
with this information they're looking for and it's wrong? When was your business? Like there is written proof that that's
Right.
Hmm.
not what's going on.
Hmm.
So what can you guys give? What advice can you give for someone who's in high school? So we have a mom who has someone who's in high school and they want to pursue. They don't want to go to college. They want to pursue go and be an entrepreneur directly from high school. Like, is there some advice on saying getting a business degree or like you said earlier, getting some background?
I would say that taking some business classes while you're in high school would be ideal, just so you have a little bit of knowledge on the business aspect. Because somebody like me, who I'm a creative and I like to work my craft,
Hmm.
but that's not the only component of a business. Especially when you are registered with the state and there are obligations you have as a functioning LLC or whatever entity you're in, you're responsible for things whether you know them or you don't. So I would say taking business courses to, and not that you need to, master that part, but at least have some knowledge and be aware of what's required of you. Um, that would be my recommendation.
For me, I would say it definitely depends on the craft. But just on a practical level, I feel like we live in an information age. So utilizing any external sources of knowledge that you can to in your field will put you ahead of the people who aren't, which most people won't. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, that and asking people in your field questions, trying to get under someone who does the same thing as you is even more beneficial. I feel like then, yeah, mentor, absolutely. That's I feel like it's better than you get the experience and the information.
What are some surprises that has happened like in your business that has you've really been eye opening that you like, oh shoot, nobody told me about this, like some unexpected surprises you can tell us about?
Hmm, that's a good question.
You want me to go first? Because Andrew looks like
Yeah,
he needs
I
to
know.
think. I
Yeah, I
can
got
tell you something.
it.
um, well, first off, let me just say this: having an LLC is more than just having three letters attached to your business. Like I said beforehand, there are responsibilities, there are obligations that you have um, that whether you know about them or not, you're still required to fulfill those things. One problem I encountered was with sales and use tax, and I had no idea that sales and use tax was something that I separately paid from the regular taxes that I filed at the end of the year. And I got a really, really nice wake up call to that one
Can you
year when
tell
I
us
had applied for
what
the Main
sales and
Street
use tax
microloan.
is first? Aaron, can you tell us what
So,
sales and use
so,
tax is?
so for me, yes. So for me, as a food service operation, I have to collect sales tax for products that I sell. And when you collect those taxes, those sales taxes, you pay them to the state. So I hired a CPA because like I said, I didn't know a lot about the business aspect of it, and she advised me to make sure that I'm collecting sales and use tax, but the conversation never went beyond that. So I'm collecting sales and use tax since the start of my business back in 2021. And I went to apply for the Main Street microloan that New Jersey offered a couple years ago, like maybe a year or two. And part of the requirement was you had to obtain a tax clearance certificate. And I went to apply for it, and they told me I was delinquent because of my sales and use tax. And I'm like, what do you mean? I file my taxes every year. I'm not delinquent. And they're like, no, 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 no. This is something different. This is something you file every quarter. And it was 2023 at this point. I officially started my business in 21. So you figure from 2021 to 2023, I hadn't filed sales and use taxes that entire time. So, long story short, when I figured out what I was responsible for, filed all of the outstanding taxes that I should have been filing all along, I owed the state of New Jersey roughly 10 G's when it came to sales and use tax, right? Sales and use tax, penalties, late fees, interest, all of that stuff. Um, so yeah, you definitely want to make sure that, like I said, the research and knowing what you're responsible for as the business entity and the type of business that you're operating, you know what you're responsible for financially, because you definitely don't want to have those things come up to bite you later on.
And I really never knew like there was so many different entities, like different parts of
Mm-hmm.
you're giving a service, so you have to pay these specific
Right.
taxes, as where someone else who doesn't give like a product, they
Like
are not
like
responsible.
straight services, they're not. Yeah. Like, because if I do there are certain things that I don't have to charge tax for, sales tax for. Like if I'm working for like a church, an organization, like they don't get taxed. If I'm doing like a delivery, I can't charge tax for that. But the products itself, you do have to charge. Well, I do have to charge sales tax for that stuff, and then each quarter you pay everything that you accumulated to the state. And
And
we
like you
also,
said, go ahead. You said
I was going to
this
say,
is even with you with a tax preparer.
mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's important to even have some type of knowledge of what your business is. So that way, you know what I mean? You could have
Right.
known and been like, hey, I should have known.
And it still hasn't been resolved at this point because at this stage in the game, as things accumulated and the debt got bigger, I don't have the type of money to just pay you right now, even though I
I
know
had
I
that
owe.
much, I'd be doing something else with it.
Right. I mean, I knew the sales and use tax the sales and use tax at that point, I knew I owed that regardless. But when it comes to the interest and the late fees and all of those penalties, thankfully I was able to get that removed and only have to pay the the interest I do have to pay, but the interest and the sales and use tax. So a lot of that money got knocked off, but I'm still responsible to pay for it. And like I said, it's not completely resolved just yet, but it was definitely a learning curve. And even with your LLCs, you have to file an annual report every year that you have to pay for. Like there's a lot of stuff on that business aspect that people don't realize. It's not just letters behind your business. Like you have obligations, and a lot of them cost money. So just make sure that when you decide to go from a side hustle or a hobby, when you want to go into that business realm, that you research and you know everything that you're responsible for doing.
So Karen says, where does she learn this stuff? Like, where do you begin your research, and what books? What'd you say?
No, I was laughing.
Oh, like, do you have to get a CPA? Like, do you guys recommend a CPA? Because everybody wants to charge for getting your LLC, but no one wants to tell you about the responsibility of maintaining that LLC. What are your thoughts on that?
Andrew, you want to jump in?
Oh, where do you learn? I feel like it's really not as well. I'm not saying that I know everything about tax law, but it's as far as annual reports and registering with LLC. I think this is accessible to anyone. You can get other people to do it for you. My wife did it for me, so that shows that she's like if you look up the information, which I feel like she did, um, she was able to do it herself.
Yeah.
I don't think that aspect of it, the starting, is as hard as maybe uh, balancing your books or keeping track of your books or stuff like that. But to get started, I don't believe is as complex, in my opinion.
She just said in the comments that LLCs are free online. So I'm
Some
guessing.
charge you to do it. Different companies charge. Some charge, and some will, I guess, do it for no nonprofit.
I for one, I went to a professional just because I didn't want any surprises later if I did something wrong or didn't know how to do something. So I did pay somebody to get mine
Because
started.
they would have been liable. You're thinking they would have been liable if something
Mm-hmm.
happened.
Yep.
Okay.
I guess that coincides with. I was trying to think of something that surprised me besides maybe some of the stuff I recorded, but I guess I was surprised at the how possible it is for if you do have a plan and stuff. You know what I mean? You have to get certain licenses and different things, but um, it's not unreachable. It's
What's that?
really not. Starting a business,
Gotcha.
even like I don't have no type of college credentials or anything for what my craft. I'm speaking on my specific craft, but um, as far as the stuff that I needed to get, that registering for LLC and a mercantile license stuff, you don't need to have any type of credentials for that type of stuff, you know.
So you can just put in Google and say, I want to run my own business. Though I mean, AI and all of that, it's a lot of information on the web. So are
Yeah,
you recommending just Google, I want to run my own
if you
whatever
go,
studio or business?
yeah, I believe you can. I also bought a lot of books personally. I use both, but I'm sure if you Google how do I start an LLC, it'll lead you to a link
And the library is
as
a
a
great
starter.
resource. Like there's a lot
For
of
sure.
books up to date in the library that are free that you can go borrow. Like you don't have to buy the books. You can go borrow at the library and then, return. Get your library cards, people.
Right. And there's not one way to do it. It would be unfair for me to say use this website. There's a lot of companies that will help you do that.
And just find one that's reputable, that's not going to, take your money and overcharge you to start your business, because a lot of those companies are out there.
For sure.
So, what about work life balance? Now that you guys are home,
Hmm.
not working for the man, how does work life how does work life balance? How does that work for you guys at home? Like with doing your job and being home and being present and then still making time for your business.
I'm still maneuvering through that because I found myself in places where I was working, and I was no good to my family because I was tired, or I can't because I got to do this, and I can't because I have to do that. Um, so I'm still maneuvering through that. And I think you have to realize that, um, your business, obviously, when you work for yourself, you're going to work harder for yourself than you did working for somebody else. There isn't, I shouldn't say there isn't, but you can't just think that your business is going to be a 9 to 5 every single day. You're going to put in hours when, other people are sleeping, or you're going to get up early and work when, everybody else is doing something different. So you have to have that flexibility. But I think when you well, for me, I came to a point where I realized you're doing too much and you're not doing enough for that home life. So I had to figure out a way to balance those things out. Like family is important. I need days off. I can't work 7 days a week. I can't work, 12 and 16 hours every single day. My family still needs me. So I think it's a learning curve, and because that territory is new for somebody who left the workforce and decided to, branch out into entrepreneurship, you kind of have to figure out what works for you.
Yeah, in your business.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And sometimes that changes. Well, I can say for me with 3 kids and stuff, the schedules are not consistent all the time. But I do appreciate that I can work around my family schedule and don't have to, call out or seek some type of understanding from someone who doesn't necessarily owe you it as a superior. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is some relief, but it is a challenge as far as managing yourself, managing your emotions, your time, and your schedule when you don't have someone to do that for you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So in managing your schedule, do you guys give yourself specific days off? Do you have like a little thing that pops up when somebody's like trying to get in touch with you and say we're off today, or leave a message, or like, do you incorporate any of that to give your
I,
like your balance with family?
I had to get to that point because I was just answering everything at any time. I was on call 24 hours a day. And
Always available.
Mm.
and you burn out that way. You definitely
Right.
burn out that way. Um, so I had to figure out days off. I had to figure out where I can turn off my responses to people, because right now with social media you're accessible all day long, all night
Mm-hmm.
long, because your phone is right in your hand. All I got to do is look and see, hey, here's a message, whether it's email or on the platforms.
Right.
And you have to train yourself to say, look, at 10 o'clock I'm done, I'm not answering anything else. And you
Mm-hmm.
put those bounce back messages on the social media platform so that people are still getting a response to their inquiries. They don't feel like you're ghosting them. But you're also making sure that you're giving yourself time and you're also giving time to your family. So I'm still creating a schedule that works for me.
Mommy literally just asked for food in these comments. So that is what happens. Like that's how business works. You'll be somewhere and they're like, oh, you know what? I want a cake. Make me 5 meals. Like send me a meal plan when you have a platform and your social media and it'll say, email us, do this, do that. So does that get a little frustrating? Not that she's frustrating you, but the process.
Was that for me?
It's
Or
for Aaron.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I said, does
Was
that part gets a little frustrating when you say, can you communicate with me this way or send an email? And people kind of don't do that process because doesn't that help with you keeping a
things
schedule?
streamlined? Yeah. And it keeps things streamlined because you're not looking on the text message, on the email, on your DM, on your inbox. But you do have to be consistent and you have to be disciplined with how you route your clients, because they're going to do whatever. It's up to you to bring them back around and say, this is how I need something done, um, because it works best for me. Otherwise, you'll drive yourself crazy. And then
mm,
eventually you'll just feel like, I can't do this anymore because you've allowed the boundaries to be open.
Right.
So you have to tighten it up yourself.
I like that. Andrew, you want to add on?
no, I agree. I just learned and trying to practice more of the as far as shutting off notifications too at certain times and on certain days, because you hearing that ding and you might not be in the right disposition, and it could, create add on to anxiety or whatever.
Right.
But I try to take Sundays off every week. Um, definitely try to consciously do it because you can get lost in the business because other people, no one is considering your schedule or your life, which they don't have
You
to,
don't have to.
but we have to wear that sometimes. You know what I mean? Some people want to talk about music at 4 in the morning or
Cakes.
four. You know what I mean?
I got an idea. Let me inbox her real quick.
And you
That way
can.
we'll
I
be
just
on
might not
house.
answer.
Right.
Who's inboxing me at 3 o'clock in the morning? Husband rolling over. Who's on your phone? Send an email, people. So is that how you communicate, Andrew, or how do people, how are you streamlined?
It's kind of the same way. I'm pretty responsive, which is a gift and a curse. Like sometimes I have to leave my phone somewhere because if I hear it or see it, I'm going to respond just because I don't know. I'm not saying it's inconsiderate not to if you can't, but I don't know, it's just OCD or something. But as far as there's definitely times after if I'm not there, then I'm not on call. You know what I mean? I've been trying to remind myself I'm not on call for people.
Yeah, so talking about Kat mentioned management boundaries are everything. Is that management boundaries with like your family and making specific time? So do you guys set specific time out in your day? I know you have days off, but like managing during the week on these days that's not off. Like how do you manage family time that way?
I think with the summer, it's a lot. It's a bit easier because everybody's around and you don't have to just work on those hours that they're home from school or home from work. At least with the kids, for me, um, it's there's a lot more freedom. But during the week, like I've had myself taking weekdays as my days off. I've had myself taking weekends. I still haven't figured out what works the best for me at this point. So I'm still working on that. But I find that like what Andrew said, I try to take Sunday off. Just because I know everybody's kind of home and you know available and free to do some things. Um, it's nice to have a weekday as well because when the kids are in school or when people are working, it gives you the chance to be alone and get some things done without being interrupted or sidetracked by other things, especially when you work from home. When you work from home, it's kind of like you don't have that benefit of detaching from work. Like when you work for somebody else, you get up, you go to a place, and you leave your job and you come home, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
distinct separation between work and home. But you
Andrew
know,
has
right?
Andrew has that. He
Yeah,
physically leaves the building.
that's a great thing.
But I feel like just like working for someone else too, you have to be intentional
Mhm.
regardless, because um, you could work for someone or work for yourself and still work too much or not
That's
work
right.
enough. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I like that. You want to add something or no?
Who, me?
So,
Uh,
so do you know the difference between? Because I know I'm always, hey, let's open up this LLC because that's what everybody doing.
mm,
Let's open up these these LLCs so they don't sue me for whatever it is that I have. So I'm protected as a person. Is that the natural way of thinking, or like is that what was your thought process with yes LLC and no LLC?
It's definitely protection. It's definitely protection for your personal assets versus the business aspects. Assets, I'm sorry. Um, but I think I just keep going back to that point I made before, just knowing what the responsibilities of holding an LLC entail before just saying, let me just, you know, create all these different LLCs and then you have these businesses operating or not operating. Because
mm,
like Andrew said, somebody who's everywhere is nowhere. So you
mm,
got all of this stuff going on and you're not able to focus on any one thing at one point in time. It's 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 going to be overwhelming, and you're, like I said, you're still responsible for everything you're responsible for with every LLC, whether it's functioning and operating or not. So it's a great thing to have. And like I said, the protection is something that you definitely need because anything can go wrong, but just make sure that you're strategic in your planning and how you do it.
Right. You wanna add on that, Andrew, or
yeah, I would just say definitely you should never get anything just because you heard about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you feel like you need it, if it's necessary for however you're conducting your business, and your business is that much separated from your normal life, and you need a protection for your business, then I feel like that's a good route to go. It's by no means not necessary, like, or you have to, but it's unless you need to. It's not something you have to do as a business, but it could be useful as a business.
okay. I have a post here that I wanted to read to you guys, and I want to get some feedback on it. It says, I respect the hell out of people who make risky decisions to leave stable and comfortable situations to change their lives. Just because it's stable or keeps the light on doesn't mean it's making you happy. And since we only go around once, at some point, happiness has to take the priority. Does that resonate with you?
Absolutely. For me,
For
it does.
sure. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I can agree with that. I also there is a difference between a risk and just being plain foolish, though. I still believe that you shouldn't do anything at the expense of yourself or your family if your plan is not solidified.
Right.
But I do agree with the sentiment
And I would
that
say, go ahead.
Go ahead.
no, no, you can go ahead.
I was just going to say it resonated with me because I think back to the point where I knew I needed to leave that job, um, to just focus on my own business. I was straddling the fence because I needed the comfort of that paycheck every 2 weeks. Like no matter what, I was getting paid every 2 weeks. And anything I did in terms of, my business, which was a side hustle at that time, it was extra and I could bank that money and put it to the side. But it got to a point where I couldn't take on jobs because I had to go to work. And
Mm-hmm.
I was a supervisor. So it wasn't like I could just call out and say, hey, I'm not coming because I got to, make a cake. I have responsibilities on my job. So it just got to the point where it was too much to manage. So in my head, I said, okay, am I going to compromise my own dream and stay here for the convenience, the stability of this 2 week paycheck? Or am I going to bet on myself and leave this stability and this comfort and everything that's familiar to me and jump out this window right here? And it just came to the point where I said I have to pick one, and it wasn't going to be that job.
So, and you chose you, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think a lot of times we don't choose ourselves because we don't think we're maybe capable of doing it,
Right.
or we don't think anybody is going to buy whatever it is the product is or support us and that type of thing. Andrew, you wanna add to that?
Yeah, and because it's not common that people
Mhm.
do that, you know. So just that alone is makes you an anomaly, kind of.
It's not safe.
Right, but I think that's when most great things happen. That's where growth happens
Absolutely.
when you become uncomfortable.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uncomfortable spot,
Yeah.
and the fact that you have prayed about this, like that, I think that's the super important part, that this is something that God has instilled in you and put in you, and you know
Hmm.
for a fact, like it is your thing, and you're
Right.
like, okay, whether people agree or whoever, the naysayers, like I am definitely going to go out here and pursue the things that He has for me, and it's going to be successful.
Hmm.
Because what are you thinking years before to where you are now? Like,
I was
is
afraid.
this where you see yourself?
No, not
Nah,
at all. Not at all. Not at
same.
all. And I think for me personally, like I had to be pushed out of my comfort zone from the beginning. Just losing my job was the first stage of, okay, get uncomfortable. Because
Hmm.
now what am I going to do? And then once I finished school, it was like, okay, now what I'm going to do? And when I got to the point where I had to decide between this job and myself, like I know God said to me, leave and leave now. And I'm like, wait a minute, but I got to make sure I have this. Like, I got to make sure this is in place. No, leave. But hold on, God. I just let me make sure I need to save like a little bit more money. Leave,
Right.
leave, because I need you to trust what I'm telling you to do. And if I said, I got you, if I gave you this idea and I said, I
Hmm.
got you, I gave you this gift, this talent, this ability, you can't say you trust me if you feel like you have to have all your T's crossed and your I's dotted before you actually take the leap.
Right.
Because that's not faith.
Hmm.
Right. You want to add to that, Andrew?
I totally agree, and I try to lead my life with the examples I read about in the Bible. That's like Abraham and leaving his whole home country and his family to pursue what God told him to. And I feel like you can't explain when you're fulfilled to anyone or when you're not feeling fulfillment. Only you know that, and God. But I feel like it's important to have the courage and to heed that voice when it is time.
And to have a listening ear, like Aaron was saying. Like, is that you, God? And you hear him clearly because
Mm-hmm.
he is going to talk to you and you will hear him clearly and he will say, it's time. And he wouldn't have put the thing in you if you couldn't operate in it. Like I
Right.
read that somewhere. Like he's going to give you the gift. You can operate it and it's there.
Mm-hmm.
So operate in it. It's going to be successful. He's not going to give it to you and tell you to take the leap of faith if it's not a thing that he has, that he knows you're going to be successful in it. Because we hear, hallelujah, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks to God. Thanks to my son-in-law for my little, listen, I'll give y'all a little story. I called Andrew and I was like, Andrew, guess what? He laughing. I am going to do a podcast. And he was like, what? And he was like, he just, listen, my family knows me. I'm full of 1,000 ideas. Like Reverend Nikki said, narrow them down. Somebody laughing. Narrow them down to 5. Right. So I was like, okay, got my 5. All right, we're going to do this. So I called and I'm like, man, I need my support, my village. I need my village. This is what I'm doing to my village. This is what my thought process is. This is where I'm trying to go. My village is like, okay, we got you. What do you need? Because that's much like you guys' village. What do you need? And I called Andrew and Andrew's like, all right, well, I got this and such and such. He was like, I got something for you. And I was like, all right, well, what do you need from me? And he was like, all right, we bartered. we bartered back and forth. And yeah, not back and forth. It was just one barter. This for this. And yeah, and my podcast literally came off of a conversation to saying, hey, I don't have this. Like the tools that we need for whatever it is our gift is, it's within touch. It's
Mm-hmm.
literally within a person or somebody who knows a person.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
anything you need is as close. I don't think we use our tools a lot.
Or recognize them.
Mm-hmm.
Recognize, right? They might not look what you need at that point.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So thank you, Andrew.
No problem. I'm extremely glad that I did that and that you endeavored to do this because it's a dope platform. Giving information to the people who are showing up. It's dope, man. You got exciting things going for you. This is
I
just
really
beginning.
didn't. I was like, I want to do the thing, but I don't know. It's my family. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. So I'd be like, all right, we're having a family meeting. That's literally how it goes. We're having a family meeting, and this is what I'm doing. And then who can help me? So I want to implore you, everyone who's watching, your family and your friends and your village can definitely help you with whatever it is that you need or whatever your business needs. Somebody knows somebody who can guide you in the direction that you're supposed to go. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's always somebody who knows a mentor, somebody who knows this person. Like somebody's like, oh, do your LLC this way. Here, I'll put it in the chat. I'll put it in the comments. You can go do it for free. Like I love not gatekeeping the information
Right.
because there's tables, right? And if you don't want to eat at that table, like you guys, you make your own table.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that you guys did that for yourselves. And so how do you think your family and like your representation for your family and your kids, like how do they see you?
I know my daughter knows all about what I do. And she's only 5, but she always wants to help. And she knows I have my business and she knows that's my job. I employ my kids, I employ my mom, I employ my husband, I employ any of my village that I can grab up for whatever I need done because y'all are going to help me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, make yourselves available.
Right.
Yep.
And with my kids, they love what I do. I still don't think that they understand that it's not a common field,
Mm-hmm.
but but they definitely they like going to the studio, and they I feel like they're very musical. So maybe I'll be passing a studio down in the future or something.
Mickey said that it's a write-off. So a lot of times, writing, right? You can write your family off.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, am I saying it correctly?
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that's what Shaq did, I think,
Is
with his
what?
parents. That's what Shaq did with his parents.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when he got paid, he had them leave their jobs and employed them, and it
Mm-hmm.
was a write-off.
Wow, didn't know that. Oh my God. So you employ me and then I employ you, so we employ each other back and forth. Look at me.
I
This-
don't, I don't know that. I don't know all the ins and outs, but
we'll talk about this later.
it's
You
possible.
got to Google that part.
We get there, we can look into that for sure.
But just the fact that you guys, took the leap of faith and that you are role models to your kids, I think that's very important because you're showing them a different like demographic of an idea of working, and it's not the
Mm-hmm.
regular 9 to 5, and you're working for yourself. So I think that it opens up so many opportunities. Like it sends their mind into overload of, hey, I can do this. My limitless, pretty
And it's
much.
okay. It's okay
Right.
to do something different.
Hmm.
Yeah. And like I was saying, I think that generation of 30 and under are definitely not the 9 to 5 people. And why are we working 9 to 5 and this lunch break and this salary? Like they're not agreeing with any of that. Where I feel like
Hmm.
a little older people, such as myself, seasoned, we did what our parents did. So we're kind of programmed into, hey,
Absolutely.
let's work for somebody and expect this
Mm-hmm.
check and because we really didn't know about negotiating salaries. Negotiating salary, they're just going to give me what they give me, and then that's it, and that's the salary.
Hmm.
Or even
So
just working for yourself, period.
yeah, right, because it wasn't an option. It was
Mm-mm.
you seen people do it, but you didn't know how they do it, and you didn't know
Hmm.
it was attainable.
Yep.
So where did you get inspired?
To work for myself.
Mhm.
Um,
Like, did you see it? What did you see? Like, is it a TV show? Was it anything like a family member?
I can't say that I saw it anywhere that I can think of on the spot. It was because it was scary for me, but I think it really just came from the fact of not wanting to give somebody the opportunity to tell me you don't have a job. I think that's what inspired me the most. Like I want to create my own opportunities and not have somebody dictate to me what my opportunities are.
That's very heartbreaking, even as someone as gifted as yourself, and you've been to college and you still fluent in Espanol.
Yeah, yeah, un poquito.
Hmm.
Poquito, okay. So I'm saying, like, you have all of this, and then you're like, okay, finding something in that field wasn't fulfilling.
Mhm.
So what do you say to people who have been, you've been to school and that's not your thing? Like, okay, it's time to shift. What do you say to those people?
I mean, personally, like, both my parents were educators, and it was like, go to college. So that's in my mind, that's what I was supposed to do. Even though I knew I what well, they knew I wasn't cut out for teaching. They gave me the room to try it out and figure out that that wasn't for me. And I think what's important for us to do as parents now is to not box your kids in. Don't make them think that this is what you're supposed to do. Allow them to think for themselves, allow them to choose, because you don't want to put them in a place where they feel like they have to do something because that's what you want them to do and it doesn't fulfill them.
Hmm.
Andrew, you want to add on? Like, what
Um,
inspired you to work for yourself?
I can't name a specific. I would have to credit God because I can't think of nothing like that I've seen or that I've heard that specifically that made me pursue self-employment. But yeah,
Was it just because you did work a lot of hours at your former job, which
right.
is ridiculous in itself, like working that many hours for anybody? outside of yourself. If you're going to work 16 hours in a day, it should definitely be serving yourself and pouring into your own business as opposed to getting exhausted for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So when you did choose, you chose to leave and pursue your own business, I thought that was very brave of you to say, okay, I'm going to do this for myself and and God gets the glory.
I appreciate that. I always tell people I never took the job expecting to do 25 years. I had music aspirations, and I was there for 5 years, almost six, and that whole time I was figuring out how to do it. And
There was the plan to leave was always there.
yes, I took the job with in my mind pursuing music, but I had to do the work even while I was working there, and I just knew when I was ready internally.
Erinn
I,
mentioned that earlier, saying like she going to work and then she's going to put her money to the side. So that way, when it's time for her business to flourish and she can go full first force, she still have something there. But that
mhm.
just working for someone else isn't like the retirement plan, like Mickey said. It's working for yourself. But the
Right.
change is scary. Go
Yes, it
ahead.
is.
Yeah, I think people have to cultivate a better. People have the wrong misconceptions about change and about failing. Those are more necessary than attempts, in my opinion.
So how can someone, like, what do you recommend or some tools you can give someone to change like their mindset of working for the 9 to 5 and still pursuing, like, to go out and pursue your dreams?
Intentionally making time for it, and not putting a. Actually, it's fine to put time limits, but not nothing that would discourage you if you don't reach that. I feel like you ultimately have to have this resolve, no matter what it takes. If you really want it, you know what I mean, it will manifest itself, I believe.
Because with success comes failure. Like, there will be failures along the
A
way.
lot of it.
There
A
should
lot of
be.
it. Yep. That's how you learn.
Go ahead, Erinn.
I was going to say that's how you learn, by failing. You know what not to do next time, and you make your adjustments on what to do next time. I also wanted to throw this into, while we're talking about entrepreneurship and working for yourself, I don't want everyone to think that working for somebody is not for other people. Like, everybody's not cut out to be an entrepreneur. Some people, like the same way we're saying college isn't for everybody, entrepreneurship's not for everybody.
Hmm.
So don't underestimate or think that if entrepreneurship is not for you, and you are suited to work a 9 to 5, there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you do have that feeling, or you do have that calling, it's like, don't suppress that for the fear of staying put where it's safe.
Right.
But it's definitely not for everybody. It ain't for the weak, because there are going to be some times where you're like, you know what, I don't know if this was the right decision.
Hmm.
And you have those moments. Just being transparent, you definitely have the right those moments. You just feel like, maybe this isn't what I should have done. And it's because you cannot expect everything to go right, or to go the way you want it to go, the way you think it should go, just because you took that leap. Like, you're going to have some lessons where you make some mistakes, and there are learning curves, and you just got to keep pressing. If this is what God put in front of you, keep pushing. But
Hmm.
I just don't want everybody listening thinking, yeah, you got to find
Right.
your own thing, because it's not for everybody.
Hmm.
It's not for me.
Right. If I did not have the aspiration, I would have did the 25 years. I didn't mind the job. I just had aspirations, and I had like the calling. So there is nothing wrong with working for someone. I do believe that everyone should pursue their purpose,
Mhm,
wherever that may take them. You know.
mhm.
I love that. Pursue your purpose. We have 10 minutes left. So if you guys have questions in the comment. This has been such an enlightening conversation. I appreciate you guys for coming on. So viewers, if you have any questions that you would like asked, I say it, asked.
Ask.
Asked. AXED. If you have any questions that you would like me to read, put them in your comments, and we will read them for Andrew. We will read them for Erinn. But definitely pursue your purpose. So are there any some you want to give some words of advice? I know we gave words of advice, but to people who are coming out of high school. But what about, the moms, the dads, the people who are in their 30s, 40s who are saying, I haven't really found my niche yet. Like, what advice can you give them? Because I know you read a lot, Andrew. A lot.
Um,
Guess you get 5 meals. See, go on the website.
I believe that there is no timeline on everyone's calling and purpose. So I feel like if you haven't found it, you should definitely not force nothing. You should continue to self-reflect and try things. You won't know what you're good at or what you like or what fulfills you until you attempt.
Or
But
in our 50s, yes, Karen, in our 50s, because it's literally never too late
right,
to pursue your thing.
not at all.
You want to add some advice that you have there, Erinn?
I was just thinking, I believe it was, yeah, Karen that said, even in your 50s, it's still not too late. I was listening to a friend on her Facebook. I think it was last night. I don't know if Katrina's still on here, Katrina Evans Johnson, but there was somebody on her live that said that God gave them the gift of photography. I can't remember what age bracket she said, but it was definitely beyond 40. It might have been, at 50 or 60, whatever her age was. But it just goes to show that at any point in time, you can walk into that purpose. And if he showed it to you, regardless of how old you are, the showing that vision was for a reason, and he's going to give you the time, he's going to give you the clients, the everything you need. He's going to equip you with everything you need to make that thing come to pass. So don't get discouraged if you feel like I'm too old, because people graduate from with college degrees in their 60s and 70s nowadays. Like, the strength and the courage is going back to do something that you need to do, or that you always wanted to do.
Hmm.
Or even the example is the lady who was in Wakanda, right? The older lady, wasn't she like in her 80s and she always wanted to act, and she just went and auditioned, and she was in like the highest grossing movie because she had that purpose she wanted to fulfill. So yes, definitely everyone who's watching, if you have that thing in you, like if God has put it in you, and you have to birth it. It's going to be
Mhm.
labor pains.
And to add on, I should have mentioned earlier, which is the best advice is if you're feeling unfulfilled, to pray for purpose.
That's
To
right.
our manufacturer, the one who created us all differently, we're not supposed to pursue anyone else's calling. So, like, people should know. If you don't know, I would pray until it's revealed.
Hmm.
like
Agreed.
um like Kippy said the other episode, she said, journal that thing. It'll come to you. Like the more you talk about it, the more it'll
Right.
reveal itself to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I did have an affirmation of the week, and it totally goes with this title of A Leap of Faith into Entrepreneurship. And it says, there is something in this world that only you can do. That is why you are here.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are so very specific to your purpose and to your vision and to your thing. Like, you guys have taken a leap of faith. Like, only you can do what you're doing. It's other people who are doing it, but you have your own table,
Mm.
right? And you just operate in faith and in the unique creation, like Miss Nina said, the unique gift that you're given.
Right.
It's so good to have you guys on here. This has been great. Like, all the comments, you guys go back and read them, but they're very grateful for your transparency, and giving the information and sharing, like not being afraid. It is a scary thing to go into, Thank you all for coming on. Thank you both for coming on Beyond the Surface with Sharon. As Andrew knows, this is my labor of love. Erinn, I call Erinn too. So if you guys who are viewing, if you can go like, subscribe to Khemistry Catering, also go to the Prophet and support them. I just want you guys to know, like, shares on when Erinn and Andrew are on social media, sharing their posts sends them to a different demographic than just you. So that's always important for people who are entrepreneurs to for us to share their information. Because if I share something with Erinn, my person in Texas could get it and say, hey, what about this? You know what I mean? So I just
Right.
implore you guys and want you guys to share when you see somebody who's an entrepreneur and be like, nothing wrong with share. Share it, boom. It's easy. You don't even have to comment. Just hit the share. So I just want to let my viewers know, like, sharing posts and is important for both H.T.R. Studios and Chemistry Catering. Correct? Is that
Yeah,
true?
it's very true. And
Yep.
support comes in all forms. Like you said, you don't have to buy anything. Sharing is free, and you just never know where that share can reach and create more business opportunities for an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? They say we're like a couple degrees from every right separation. Everybody's a few degrees from separation. So yes,
Hmm.
share, and share alike. But thank you all for coming on.
Thank you for
What
having
else?
us.
Yes. Thank you for having us.
Welcome. I appreciate y'all coming on. Next month, we're off next Thursday. It is the 4th of July. It is the people's holiday. It is the people's holiday. America. It's America's holiday. And we will be at the barbecue on America's holiday. So we are not here next week, but in July, we are having Transformation Thursdays. So that is our theme for July, Transformation Thursdays. So we are going to talk about some people who have literally talked with some people who have literally transformed their lives. So I'm excited for that. That show will take place on 7/11, 7/11, 7/11. That's the song, right? Um, 7/11 and 7/18. So we have some people coming through. I'll advertise that next week. So thank you all for coming in. Thank you guys for supporting the gift that God has given me. I am here. I am just trying to empower, encourage, enlighten, and inform. And I appreciate you guys coming through and informing my folks, because my folks got a lot of good information. I think you encouraged, not that I think, I know you encouraged people to take that leap of faith and get out here and, believe God and trust God that all things are going to work together for his purpose and to the call.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Amen.
amen. So, yeah. Oh, shout out Andrew. Oh, Andrew, your birthday's coming up, 7/5, period. Your wife said.
It is. Big
Happy early
32.
Yes.
birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Birthday to you. So we will be back on 7/11. I might try to sneak something in here because I'm running out of people. Well, not out of people, but out of time and space. So I might come on Wednesday or Tuesday or something because I got somebody else I want to bring in for transformation. It's going to go back. But thank you all for supporting, and thank you all to our visitors from all over the country. Yeah. So we will not be here next Thursday, but I might make a little situation change like I did the other week. Oh yeah, so I'll be at Thursday, Saturday, I'll be at the journaling. And they have Gardener's Basin. They're having a concert out there with Bow Legged Lou. Ron doesn't know him. Bow Legged Lou gonna be out there and he gonna be the MC. So I'm gonna go see him. Why you
Okay.
Bow-legged
yes.
Ludo.
Bow Legged Lou is finna be in
I
Atlantic City. And Andrew, do you know who Bow Legged Lou is?
don't. Nah, I don't know who that is. It sounds like I need to though. Do I?
Yes. Have you seen House Party? You see House Party?
Oh yeah, I have seen that. Bowlegaloo. I don't remember that
The
name though.
original house party.
I may
With
not. Yeah, I did.
Frank,
Yeah, I seen that one.
he on there. Jerry Curl, big guy, buff, like this.
And you're going to see him. Is it?
He a rapper too. See?
He's like, and you're going to see him?
He's a comedian.
We're not going to disrespect. No, he's not a comedian. He's a rapper.
I'm looking him
Mickey
up soon
says, "Send
as
help."
we get off.
Yes, please,
I'm
please look him up.
gonna educate myself. I apologize.
It's a whole genre you're missing. Just, yes. Laughing in the comments. Wow. Yeah, it's that age range. But if you've seen yeah, she said we're gonna watch it tonight. Okay, but
Oh Lord.
thank y'all for tuning in. It's, as always, I am blessed to have everyone who watches because I count it not robbery. Come on, church, that people are on here and watching. So I appreciate you guys for sharing your gift and sharing your business and sharing your time with me on Beyond the Surface, where we are here to encourage, enlighten, inform, and empower, which we have done. You don't know, fake rappers. See, every time I think the Lord's working on her, maybe it's your house. Wow. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. We'll see you next week. Not maybe 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven. I'll see y'all 7-Eleven for Transforming Thursday in July. See y'all.
All right.
And thanks for tuning in.